My coworker took credit for my project that got me passed over for promotion, so I revealed she'd been falsifying her timesheet for years. Sometimes the biggest mistake you can make is stealing from someone who's been quietly documenting your crimes for months. My coworker Jennifer thought she could steal my year-long project, present it as her own work, and watch me get passed over for the promotion we both wanted. What she didn't know was that I'd been tracking her timesheet fraud for over a year, and that one email to HR would expose her as the lying, cheating fraud she really was. I'm Ashley, 28, and until last month I worked as a senior marketing analyst at Meridian Digital, a mid-sized advertising agency in Seattle. I'd been there for 4 years, working my way up from an entry-level position and consistently receiving excellent performance reviews. When a marketing manager position opened up in January, I knew I was the perfect candidate for the promotion. My biggest competition was Jennifer Walsh, a 31-year-old senior analyst who joined the company around the same time I did. On paper, Jennifer looked impressive. She always hit her deadlines, volunteered for high-profile projects, and had developed a reputation as someone who could handle multiple clients simultaneously. But I knew something about Jennifer that management didn't. She was a fraud. For over a year, I'd been noticing discrepancies in Jennifer's work patterns. She'd claimed to be working late on important projects, but I'd see her leaving the office at normal hours. She'd report weekend work on her timesheets, but her computer login records showed she wasn't actually accessing company systems. At first, I thought maybe she was working from home, or had some arrangement I didn't know about. But as I paid closer attention, the pattern became clear. Jennifer was systematically falsifying her timesheets to inflate her billable hours and make herself look more productive than she actually was. I started documenting everything. I kept records of when Jennifer actually left the office versus what she reported on her timesheets. I noted when she claimed to be working on weekends, but wasn't responding to emails or making any measurable progress on projects. I even tracked her social media posts, which often showed her at restaurants, bars, or social events during times she claimed to be working. Why didn't I report her immediately? Honestly, because I thought her fraud would eventually catch up with her naturally. I figured someone in management would notice that Jennifer's reported hours didn't match her actual output, or that clients would complain about work quality issues. I was wrong. Jennifer was smart about her fraud. She'd inflate her hours just enough to look dedicated, without raising red flags, and she'd deliver adequate work that met minimum standards. She was essentially getting paid for 50 to 60-hour weeks while working standard 40-hour schedules. But I kept documenting everything, thinking that someday the evidence might be useful. I never imagined Jennifer would be bold enough to steal my work directly. The project that changed everything was a complete rebranding campaign for one of our biggest clients, Cascade Outdoor Gear. I'd been working on this project for almost a year, researching market trends, developing creative concepts, coordinating with designers, and managing every detail of the campaign launch. This wasn't just any project. It was the biggest campaign our agency had handled in years, worth over $2 million in billings. Success on this project would basically guarantee whoever managed it would get the promotion to marketing manager. I'd been the sole point person on Cascade from the beginning. I'd built the relationship with their marketing team, understood their brand identity better than anyone, and had developed the strategic framework that guided the entire campaign. Everyone in the office knew this was Ashley's project. Or so I thought. 3 weeks before the campaign launch, our department head announced that Jennifer would be presenting the Cascade project to senior management as part of the promotion evaluation process. I was stunned. There must be some mistake, I told my supervisor, Kate. I've been managing the Cascade project since last March. Jennifer has barely been involved. Kate looked uncomfortable. Actually, Ashley, Jennifer submitted a detailed report showing her contributions to the Cascade project. According to her documentation, she's been the strategic lead on the account for months. That's impossible. I can show you my project files, my email correspondence with the client, my time tracking. Jennifer has provided similar documentation supporting her role. We need to sort this out before the presentations next week. That's when I realized what had happened. Jennifer had been quietly inserting herself into my project communications, copying herself on emails, and creating documentation that made it look like she'd been involved all along. She'd been planning to steal credit for my work for months. I spent the weekend pulling together evidence of my role on the Cascade project. Email threads where I was the primary contact, creative briefs I'd written, strategy documents with my name on them, client meeting notes from sessions Jennifer hadn't attended. But when I brought this evidence to Kate on Monday, Jennifer was ready with her counter evidence. She'd somehow obtained copies of most of my work and had created versions with her name attached. She claimed I'd been working under her direction, and that she'd been the true strategic leader while I handled execution details. Ashley's done great work on this project, Jennifer said with fake sympathy during our meeting with Kate. But I think she's confused about the reporting structure. I've been the senior lead on Cascade since the beginning, and Ashley has been my key support person. I was speechless. Jennifer had not only stolen my work, but was now gaslighting me about my own role on the project I'd built from scratch. The worst part was that Jennifer had been strategic about her theft. She'd focused on stealing credit for the high-level strategy and client relationship while leaving me with the execution work that looked less impressive to management. From the outside, it seemed plausible that Jennifer had been the strategic lead while I handled the day-to-day implementation. Kate scheduled individual presentations for both of us to present our versions of the Cascade project to senior management. Whoever delivered the more convincing presentation would likely get the promotion. I knew I was in trouble. Jennifer had stolen my work and was better positioned to take credit for it. She was older, more politically connected in the office, and had been building relationships with senior management for years. Even with my evidence, it would be hard to prove definitively that the project had been mine from the beginning. That's when I remembered the year's worth of evidence I had about Jennifer's timesheet fraud. If Jennifer wanted to play dirty, I was going to show her exactly how dirty things could get. I spent the next few days organizing all my documentation of Jennifer's fraudulent timesheets. The evidence was overwhelming. Over 300 hours of falsified work time in the past year, representing approximately $15,000 in fraudulent billing to clients. But I didn't want to just report Jennifer to HR and hope for the best. I wanted to time my revelation for maximum impact. The presentations were scheduled for Thursday afternoon. Jennifer was presenting first, followed by me. I watched her deliver a polished presentation about her Cascade project, complete with strategic insights and creative concepts that I'd developed. She was confident, articulate, and convincing. Several senior managers asked detailed questions about the project development process, client relationship management, and strategic decision-making. Jennifer answered smoothly, using information she'd stolen from my project files. Then it was my turn. Instead of presenting the Cascade project, I opened with a different topic entirely. Before I discuss my work on the Cascade account, I said, I need to address a serious issue that affects the integrity of our evaluation process. I could see Jennifer's face change as she realized I wasn't following the expected script. For the past year, I've been documenting systematic timesheet fraud by Jennifer Walsh. She's been falsifying her billable hours, claiming to work evenings and weekends when she was actually not working, and inflating her productivity metrics to gain advantages in project assignments and performance reviews. The room went silent. Jennifer was staring at me in shock and growing panic. I have over a year of evidence documenting this fraud, I continued, pulling out my organized files. Computer login records showing Jennifer wasn't accessing company systems during claimed work hours. Social media posts showing her at social events during times she reported as billable work. Timesheet records showing consistent patterns of inflated hours that don't match her actual output. I began distributing copies of my evidence to everyone in the room. Screenshots of Jennifer's Instagram posts from a weekend she'd claimed 16 hours of billable work. Login records showing her computer was idle. During an evening, she'd reported working until midnight. A detailed spreadsheet comparing her claimed hours to her measurable output over 6 months. The reason this is relevant to our promotion discussion, I continued, is that Jennifer has been using her fraudulent timesheet data to justify her involvement in high-profile projects like Cascade. She's claimed hundreds of hours of work she never performed, and she's used that false productivity record to position herself for advancement opportunities. Jennifer tried to interrupt. This is completely inappropriate. Ashley is making false accusations because she's upset about— I'm not finished, I said firmly. The Cascade project that Jennifer just presented as her own work has been my primary responsibility for 11 months. I have complete documentation of my role as the strategic lead, primary client contact, and project manager. Jennifer's involvement has been minimal, and her claims of leadership are as fraudulent as her timesheets. I then presented my real evidence about the Cascade project. Not just email threads and documents, but a complete timeline showing my involvement from the project's inception. Client testimonials praising my work. Creative concepts in my handwriting. Meeting notes from sessions Jennifer had never attended. Jennifer has built her entire promotion case on stolen credit and falsified work records, I concluded. She's defrauded our clients by billing for work she never performed, and she's attempted to steal credit for my year-long effort on our agency's most important account. The presentation room was dead silent. Jennifer was crying, realizing that her entire house of cards was collapsing. Senior management was passing around my evidence with increasingly grim expressions. Our department head spoke first. Jennifer, these are extremely serious allegations. Do you have any response to this evidence? Jennifer tried to deny everything, but my documentation was too comprehensive. She couldn't explain away the computer login records, the social media evidence, or the timeline discrepancies. She'd been caught red-handed, and everyone in the room could see it. The meeting ended with Jennifer being escorted to HR, while senior management discussed next steps. I was asked to provide all my evidence to the company's legal department for review. The investigation that followed was swift and thorough. HR discovered that Jennifer's timesheet fraud was even more extensive than I'd documented. She'd been stealing from the company and our clients for over 2 years, falsifying hundreds of hours of work time. But the investigation also revealed something even worse. Jennifer had been systematically stealing credit for other people's work throughout her tenure at the company. I wasn't her first victim. I was just the first person to fight back with evidence. 3 junior employees came forward with stories of Jennifer taking credit for their projects. 2 former employees contacted HR to report similar experiences. The pattern was clear. Jennifer had built her entire career at our agency on stolen work and fraudulent billing. Jennifer was fired within a week, and the company began the process of pursuing criminal charges for fraud and theft. The total amount of her timesheet fraud was calculated at over $45,000 in false billings to clients. But the legal consequences were just the beginning of Jennifer's downfall. Word of her fraud spread quickly through our industry. Seattle's advertising community is small, and news of a senior analyst falsifying timesheets and stealing credit for projects traveled fast. Jennifer's reputation was destroyed overnight. She tried to find work at other agencies, but her former employers were required to disclose the circumstances of her termination when contacted for references. No one wanted to hire someone with a documented history of timesheet fraud and credit theft. Jennifer's LinkedIn profile, which had showcased her supposed accomplishments on projects she'd stolen, became a liability. Former colleagues and clients who'd worked with her began questioning which achievements were actually hers and which she'd stolen from others. The most satisfying part was watching Jennifer's professional network disappear. Colleagues who'd thought she was a rising star distanced themselves once they learned about her fraud. Clients who'd praised her work realized they'd actually been praising stolen contributions from other team members. As for me, I got the promotion to marketing manager, along with a significant raise and a formal apology from senior management for not catching Jennifer's fraud sooner. The Cascade project launched successfully and has become one of our agency's most celebrated campaigns. More importantly, I learned that sometimes the best defense against workplace theft is meticulous documentation. If I hadn't been tracking Jennifer's timesheet fraud for over a year, I might not have had the leverage to expose her project theft when it mattered most. The company has also implemented new policies to prevent similar fraud. All timesheet entries now require computer login verification. Managers are required to verify claimed work hours against measurable output, and there are stronger protections for employees who report suspicious billing practices. Some people have asked why I waited so long to report Jennifer's timesheet fraud instead of addressing it immediately when I first noticed it. The truth is, I learned a valuable lesson about timing and preparation. If I'd reported Jennifer's fraud months earlier, it might have been handled as an HR issue with a warning or minor discipline. But by waiting until she escalated to stealing my work directly, I was able to expose her pattern of fraud in a context where it had maximum impact and consequences. Jennifer thought she was smart, building her career on stolen work and fraudulent billing while staying just under the radar of management attention. But she got greedy and stole from someone who'd been documenting her crimes for over a year. The irony is perfect. Jennifer lost everything because she tried to steal credit for work from the same person who'd been gathering evidence of her other theft for months. If she'd just focused on her own legitimate work instead of trying to steal mine, she might have kept getting away with her timesheet fraud indefinitely. But criminals always get greedy eventually, and greed leads to mistakes. Jennifer's mistake was thinking she could steal my year-long project without consequences. She learned that some people fight back, and when they do, they fight to win. 6 months later, Jennifer is working as a server at a restaurant in Portland, trying to rebuild her life after destroying her career with fraud and theft. Meanwhile, I'm thriving in my new management role, leading projects that are actually mine, and building a career based on honest work and documented achievements. The best revenge isn't getting even. It's succeeding honestly while watching dishonest people face the consequences of their choices. Jennifer got exactly what she deserved. Nothing.